politically, what party did you start with?
United People's Party,
And you're staying there.
right there.
When you think about politics, I think about your uncle, DP. I think about your other uncle, who had just started the map. And you're staying put with the UP. Why?
Well, yeah, because I started as number 3.
You're loyal.
Not really loyalty. I have no reason to go. I started at number 3. My first time running, as I stated, I did 420 votes. That's amazing. Next time running, I was the highest in the country at number 2 on the United People's Party. Why would I change? I am now the leader of the vessel.
Yeah.
Why would I change? Now, I'm number 1. Am I going to go somewhere to be number 1 again when I'm already number one of a party where, for me, obviously, the majority of the people liked me where I was and liked what I represented?
I keep hearing the phrase, we were given the mandate. We were given the mandate. Please clear up for us when you talk about mandate, because to me, when you're given a mandate, when the people have given you a mandate, it's because they voted for you and they gave you the mandate. But you're not leading.
Correct.
The smaller parties are saying, yeah, we were given the mandate. No, they were not.
No.
Because they didn't get anything outright majority, and they just barely got to muster 2 seats each.
Correct.
So please explain to them exactly what a mandate is.
Well, a mandate is by you, the people. You basically giving us your authority to act on your behalf. And as clearly stated, it was like, oh, the 2x4 has the mandate. The 2x4, the people have spoken. Well, the people have really spoken and said, any 4 seats up 3 seats, you are the biggest vote getters, and then it goes down the line. Votes are votes. You know what's sad is that, for those who don't understand, you have 15 seats in Parliament, so 8 is a majority. 8. There are people who had 7 seats and ended up in opposition. Now, 7 seats means majority of the votes, 6,000 votes. That is a clear mandate. But if you decide to team up and muster up together and say, this is what the people wanted, is that really what the people wanted?
Exactly.
When you have the highest vote getter in the country in outstanding fashion, then you ask yourself, what did the people really want? So you are correct. When we say, oh, give us the mandate, that's what we really mean. Show us that you are with us. Support us so that we can have the majority of the votes, that we are able to form a coalition so that the people that you vote for with the most votes can be in power.
You're an optimist. So let's talk about, do you think we will ever have a full-out majority?
I do think that once we are elected under my leadership this time, the next time around we'll have a full mandate. I'm a realistic person. I think this time we will be the biggest party. I have no doubt about it. 5 seats minimum. But
optimistic, I like that.
Yeah, as a full slate,
Right.
8 seat outright, I do think once we get elected and we are placed in government, with the way that we will structure things, the way that I will lead, the next time around will be a full mandate, a full 8 seats.
And you would not want to go back to becoming Minister of everything.
Well,
Minister of Health.
No matter where you put me, my passion is there. I have to finish the hospital. No matter what, if negotiations permit, I will definitely push to have VSA under us, because I do believe that no one can finish a hospital but me. Even if I am Prime Minister and it falls under Ministry of VSA, you still have some input, you still can advise. But as I stated, as much as I would like to do those things, and I want to do those things, if you are the highest vote getter in the country, the people look to you to lead.
Okay. What do you say to people when they say, that a lot of the work that has been done in your ministry was that of the former Minister of VSA who laid the groundwork?
Well, a lot of the work, I can look in the camera and say this, a lot of the work that was done in the ministry, the groundwork was done by the department. But a lot of the things that you see, it comes from vision and leadership. A lot of the new innovations. And it takes you to want to say, we have to do this. Because there have been other ministers of VSR with the same departments that are there, and nothing is coming out. So me being able to shine was for a reason. It tells you leadership. Because I hit the ground running. In a month, in 2 months, I can count how much articles and stuff that we had. In a month, 2 months, we have 0 accomplishments coming out of the Ministry of VSR with the same staff there. So you have to, and if it's about the minister before, then the minister after me should definitely be shining, because I have left so much things there to be completed.
My name is Ms. Aurelie Boyrat. I'm the acting head for Division Educational Innovation within the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth and Sport. And we're here this afternoon because one of the students from NIPA, Ms. Darlene Galeo, received a Kingdom Scholarship. She's a recipient for the Kingdom Scholarship this afternoon. She submitted her application and it was accepted. And we're here this afternoon to present her the scholarship, actually, on behalf of the Minister of Education, Culture and Sport, who could not be here today because he's off island and traveling back to St. Martin today. Nonetheless, we decided it was very important for us to do this presentation to you the official way, and that's why we're here this afternoon.
Since 2022, we have taken essential steps via what we call the Ministerial For-Country Platform initiative to establish the Kingdom Scholarship. This scholarship aims to foster mobility within the Kingdom for students pursuing advanced vocational education, as well as college and university education, thereby promoting the academic success of Caribbean students. The Kingdom Scholarship provides a unique opportunity for students to undertake internships or exchange programs within the Kingdom for periods ranging from 2 to 6 months. This initiative is designed to enrich their educational experience, broaden their horizons, and prepare them for a successful future. In 2023, we launched a smaller pilot program among the Caribbean universities, and I am proud to announce that today we are working with our very first group of advanced vocational education students who will embark on their internships within the Kingdom next semester. This progress was made possible through the collective efforts of all partners within the Kingdom, guided by the dedicated Strategic Education Alliance program team.
Today, we honor and are proud to announce that the first recipient of this prestigious award is one of our students from the Licensed Practical Nursing Program, Darlene Mosquera Gallego. This is a testament to our pursuit for excellence and knowledge. We would like to commend Darlene for her hard work and dedication throughout the program. I recognize this in her, and that's why I invited her to join us for the C conference in Curacao in April. And when she mentioned that she wanted to make use of this opportunity, I was like, of course, you need to go for it. The deadline was very close upon us when we got back, but together we worked it out and were able to meet the deadline and find a suitable place for her where she'll be doing her internship in Aruba.
The main motivation was more to gain more experience, especially in the nursing, as in St. Martin is. It's big, but it's not that big, as if I go elsewhere. And yeah, it should be an amazing experience. And when I come back, I do hope to encourage other persons to do the same. Thank you.
Greetings to all present. As a C representative for St. Martin, I am excited to celebrate this milestone. The very first St. Martin recipient of the Kingdom Scholarship. This achievement is a result of the close collaboration between the C project team and 2 local institutions, NIPA and the University of St. Martin. We are grateful for the instrumental role that both institutions played in making this project a success. Ms. Darlene Gallego, I congratulate you for taking this step. We look forward to hearing about your experiences in Aruba, and we know you will be an inspiration to your schoolmates. This scholarship enables students from the NIPA and the University of St. Martin to participate in an exchange program or an internship within the kingdom. This experience will allow students to broaden their horizons and enrich their academic journey. The upcoming application period for the Kingdom Scholarship begins on September 1st and ends on October 14, 2024.
Your social and health insurance is your social and health insurance.
Are you SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
Your social and health insurance.
Of Parliament meetings before we go on recess officially. So we had a central committee meeting to continue the discussion on the state of affairs and potential solutions at the island's electricity company, NVGEBE. That essentially was the Prime Minister coming back to answer questions and to also present updates on the solutions then, and with an actual presentation this time on what was being done by GB to counteract the load shedding that we've all been dealing with. Of course, there is quite a bit of money that's going to be spent as we continue to move into move through this energy crisis that we're in. We are operating at a 17 megawatt deficit, and that's basically putting a strain on each neighborhood, so we have to load shed. So what's going to happen is that container generators are being, now I know it was a little confusing. People were like, okay, but then what is the solution that's actually happening? So there's actually a three-pronged approach. There are container generators that are being rented for a period of 3 months, I believe, and those container generators are going to carry us to the point where we can then have the lease to own container generators on the island. Now, the ones that are being rented are going to be rented from a company called So Energy, and the ones that are going to be leased to own are from a company that is called CMEC. Now, a lot of people are like, okay, lease to own, and then what? So basically, it means that we will have container generators that we then own, well, GB would then own, which would then kind of, in the future, if we had such a crisis again, allow us to kind of piggyback. Now, the lease to own option also had people a little frustrated because essentially what it meant is that we're leasing to own to bridge the gap until we buy 3 new engines basically for GEBE. And a lot of folks were like, okay, so why not just make a complete switch to solar energy right away, etc.? Why are we going back to these engines and such? And I think those are all very valid questions. Of course, everything costs money, and I think that the reality that we all kind of have to also admit is that GB as a company is not going to be able to sustain the entire island on solar. That being said, it doesn't mean that they can't take steps to upgrade themselves and the grid or whatever else has to be done to be able to actually, see us moving into that renewable energy phase. Of course, persons are able to kind of do their own solutions at home when it comes to solar solutions. But the meeting, I think my biggest concern coming out of that meeting, and I share this with MP Ludmila De Weaver, is that um, it's a lot of money, and GB is saying that they are going to absorb all the costs of everything. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, well, they're saying there'll be no impact to the consumer, and I personally do not believe that. I said it, that it's tough to believe what is coming out of GEBE, because from since the time of the hack in 2022, I kind of feel like we as Parliament have been getting uh, half-baked information, whether it was from the then interim manager, Ms. Daniel, or from now. It's just not, as they say in Dutch, clock needs. Like, it's not all coming together for me. So it is a bit of a challenge to believe that this is going to have no impact to the consumer, and that's something that I've also kind of voiced in the meeting, because I am concerned about that, because right now customers are feeling it in several ways. The strain of load shedding. I can tell you right now, if I look tired, it's because yesterday Defiance Middle Region had 4 load shedding moments, each for about 2.5 hours to 3 hours each.
That this costs St. Martin nothing, because it seems as though money is coming from the central bank and that money is used to pay ENIA. In reality, we are short 3 million guilders per year, as the total dividends of 4 million guilders belong to St. Martin, that could have gone to our coffers to cover our expenses, such as overdue payments to the justice workers, not having them wait years to be paid, which additional income could be used to give the much needed tax relief to the people of St. Martin by lowering wage tax, which additional income could be used to pay the plethora of outstanding vendors owed by government, and the list can continue. As you know, we are instructed to cut the 2024 inflated budget not by 22 million, but by 32 million guilders. And in actuality, CFT wants the amended budget to have a positive result of 16 million, which will mean an extra cut of 14 million, totaling 46 million guilders, which was undoable. However, the government managed to cut the expenses and revenue by 32 million guilders. All these cuts has an effect whereby various needed vacancies would not be able to be filled and various projects not realized. As a country, we need to increase our revenue. We need to implement tourist tax, increase lodging tax. We cannot continue to sustain St. Martin solely off the backs of the St. Martin people. The St. Martin people deserve relief and an increase in their purchasing power. So I hope this is clear, that in reality, passing on these dividends does cost St. Martin. The other financial factor in understanding the solution is point 2. Dividends paid to ENIA directly from the central bank. On a yearly basis, central bank will pay 15 million guilders to ENIA directly. It is important to state ENIA is not a shareholder in the central bank. St. Martin and Curacao are the shareholders, which means any dividend payments leaving the central bank is monies from Curacao and St. Martin. Approximately 1 million guilders from this 15 million guilders is money that belongs to St. Martin. This equates to the 6.49%. This too will be broken down in the subsequent slide. I will now delve into the third point, which is the peak facility. peak facility / guarantor. On a yearly basis, when contributions are paid to Enya New, in specific years, it is already determined that these years' contributions to Enya New from Curaçao, St. Martin, and the Central Bank will not cover the cash outflow obligations of Enya New. Therefore, now comes the peak facility. What is this, you may ask? Allow me to explain. Let's say 10 million guilders comes into Enya New to cover the payments of the policyholders. However, 12 million guilders is due. What happens to the 2 million guilders outstanding? Central Bank floats a bond loan for Enya New. What is key here is St. Martin and Curaçao stands guarantor for the peak facility bond loan. What does guarantor mean? In the event Enya New cannot pay this loan, which is taking out to cover their obligations, they cannot pay. St. Martin and Curaçao has to pay their respective portions of the loan of 2 million guilders, as an example, using the Enya distribution key of 6.49% for St. Martin. In this case, St. Martin would have to pay 129,000 guilders, which is the 6.49% of the 2 million.
You just mentioned 5G bundle that's coming to play.
Well, we're planning to launch 5G sometime in 2025. Probably in the last quarter of 2025 when we put in the new system. When we put in the new mobile system, it'll come with 3, 4, and 5G connectivity.
With this upgrade?
With this upgrade, we're only, right now for this year in September, we're only doing the 3G layer. So that the connectivity that we're using, that the issues that we're having right now will be solved. And then as we go along, we're going to keep negotiating and keep putting things in place. So that we're planning that the last quarter in 2025, we should have pretty much a new mobile system in place.
Mr. Dupasoy, it's no secret that Telem had to go through a restructuring because of its financial issues and all the competition it's facing. With now all the debts that have now been created, for example, you just said the fiber to home has given Telem a huge debt and even handcuffed you a little bit. Do you see the company surviving what is before it right now?
Well, if we didn't see the company surviving, we would have not done the restructuring in the first place because it's a very unpleasant and difficult decision to make to send home 74 people, you know, even though it was a good package, all of them left voluntarily, but it's still a difficult thing. Some of them are like family. So it's like your family leaving, and you know, sometimes when we were doing it, we had counseling not only for those that left, but for those that stayed, because some of them had good friends and they left, you know, so we had counseling sessions to make sure that transition would have been smooth. What we're doing in place of those people are we're automating a lot of stuff. We're using robotics and other AI and all kind of other things to be able to, so that the workload is not increased on the ones that stay, because a lot of the workload will be shifted towards automation.
Now, you're currently experiencing the problem that you're facing due to a breakdown in generator. How often do you maintain your equipment?
Generators are maintained usually on a bi-monthly basis. You know, that's what they're supposed to be maintained on a bi-monthly basis. Like I told you in earlier, we actually tested the generator 2 weeks before both generators 2 weeks before the incident occurred on June the 5th, and both generators function normally. However, when we started the generator for the next maintenance period, we noticed that the radiator was leaking. The other generator was still working fine. And during the outage on June the 5th, the card failed. Failures of cards, you know, those circuit board cards, are very, very rare. So it was like almost a perfect storm that happened. That's why we ended up losing power. Everything else was working fine in the generator. But they are maintained on a regular basis, all over the thing. But that's also another thing too. One of the things that we have planned is to update our power and cooling systems. In 2019, we commissioned a power report, a power cooling system report, to know which way to go, and that also entails renewable energy and stuff like that. A discussion we're gonna have with our sister company GB on being able to make sure that we have that we're following all the rules that's not going to mess up GB's grid.
SXV insured? Do you have a valid medical insurance status? SXV is cardless. Request your My SXV account today and enter the virtual office of SXV. Go to sxv.sx and sign up now.
SXV, yeah. Your social and health insurances.
Major hurricane Beryl is now in the Eastern Caribbean and continues to move toward the west-northwest, almost due west but slightly north of due west, moving into the Caribbean. That motion is expected to continue during the course of today and going through tomorrow. The system should move into the Central Caribbean by then and then start moving closer and closer to Jamaica. The current projected path takes the center of the system just off the south coast. However, there is a chance that the center could actually pass over Jamaica or even further from the southern coastline. And so we are watching, monitoring very closely. We will continue to monitor and, of course, update the Jamaican people about the latest position of this major hurricane. It is expected on moving into the Central Caribbean to be reduced in intensity somewhat because conditions are not very favorable in the Western Caribbean to sustain the major hurricane. However, by the time it passes Jamaica or passes over Jamaica, it is still likely to be a hurricane and possibly a major hurricane.
The seas are raging, very high swells. The winds have intensified. And I noticed that on mainland St. Vincent, in capital Kingstown, where we actually are, the winds have intensified significantly, howling to be exact. And on the east coast, the seas are also raging. We are seeing and hearing reports of some houses having lost their roofs. I can't speak to how extensive is that damage in terms of giving you a count in relation to that. But videos are circulating as it relates to that. The rain in Kingstown, where we are, is not as intense as probably some of the rural communities. So we depend significantly on reports from the National Emergency Council. Earlier on, when we checked in, there were in excess of 1,000 persons in 59 shelters located across the country as well.
Among the locations that we are giving attention is the Sandy Gully, the lower section of the Sandy Gully in St. Andrew. We're also looking at the silt traps in the north and south gullies in Montego Bay. The contractor working on the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project, SCHIP, between Harbour View and Port Antonio. We have identified some locations and we have asked that those locations be checked and whatever steps or action is required, that these things are done before we start to experience the rains or any impact from the hurricane.
And Environment Minister Matthew Samuda says he will ensure there is no water lock-off during this time.
An adjusted regulation schedule for communities that do face regulations, because ultimately we know that there is a potential timeline which Evan will speak to shortly, but that timeline will force us to change water supply schedules to make sure that Jamaicans all have a chance to fill their tanks and storage in the eventuality that the storm does come and does affect us particularly negatively. So just to alert that members of the rather citizens are to look out for those notifications from the National Water Commission mid-afternoon. But over the next 36 hours, we'll be ensuring that every community is indeed served so that they're able to fill and prepare properly for any water disruptions.